Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, a daily podcast which we disassemble a film with the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute segments and then examine it in obsessive and occasionally hilarious detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Swashbuckling Ladies Debate Society podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and you know, one of the things that I love is a nice, refreshing glass of water.
H2O.
Absolutely. It makes me think about the history of bottled water. You know, vessels to bottle and transport water have been a part of the earliest human civilizations. And bottling, from what we understand, officially began in the United Kingdom with the first water bottling at the Holywell in 1621. First commercially distributed water in America was bottled and sold by Jackson's Spa in Boston in 1767. The early part of this was all based on health. You thought that the mineral waters and all these other waters that could be bottled could then be a good part of a healthy life. And in the U.S., the beginning of the 20th century, after chlorination and all these other things happen, allows our public water system to be taste fine and safe to drink. Bottled water kind of takes
most of the country.
In most of the country.
Let's not forget Flint.
Our thoughts to all the people who might be listening to this. Yes, we understand that. Totally understand that. Thank you. But it's not a big deal. It remains a big deal in Europe for a lot of different reasons. Perrier, sparkling water, water with gas, however you refer to it, whatever country you're from. But then it comes back in the 20th century, and a lot of that is due not just to the commercialization of hydration, but also in 1973, a DuPont engineer by the name of Nathaniel Wyeth patented polyethylene terephthalate. And I murdered the pronunciation of that. It's the PET. It's the plastic that we still use today in bottling, and that it was able to contain pressurized liquids. And that's how we have this. Why do I bring this up? I bring this up because there is a particular prop in this minute that you even today could procure for a measly $30, and you too could be Iron Man.
Ooh, wow. For just a mere $30, you could be Iron Man here at minute 19 of Iron Man 2 from 2010, directed by Mr. Jon Favreau. Joining us once again is our good friend Ray.
Hello.
Hey. Still sticking around with us. I'm surprised.
Hey, this has been a pleasure for me.
Oh, okay.
You're very kind, sir. I'm a little concerned by Kyle's surprise. We're fun to hang with.
It's an endurance test.
Yeah,
it's like most of the people who are listening to this have it nice that's just in their ears, and it's been filtered and it's been edited. Like, this is the raw water. This is well water that Ray is drinking right now. You don't know what you're going to get. See,
nicely done.
The water. So here we are. So we have finally finished the trial of Tony Stark. Oh man, I don't know if you guys were as sick of it as we are, but we have now. Yeah, we have traveled into the future. That's right. We have moved 4 days ahead in the timeline, and in a beautiful cut. So this is what's amazing about this is we, for those of you who don't know, want to know a little behind the scenes stuff. Basically, an algorithm has cut the movie into the minutes for us. So we have everything cut up there, and every once in a while, it's one of these beautiful, elegant that does it right on an edit line that it cuts the minute right there. So I don't know if that's the genius of the editing or just the miracle of the algorithm, but it was a perfect cut from Russia to California in this one. It just made us very, very happy.
In fact, I think this is the first perfect cut on the minute line, because this one is literally right on it. It's fantastic.
Yeah, like to the frame. It is right. It was gorgeous. So this now it is May 12th, 2010 in our timeline, and we are in beautiful Malibu, California. That's right. The stately Stark mansion on Point Doom, which does not exist. This is the land that you see is real, but the house itself is all CG.
No, okay. That was just going to say, one, let's take this apart. Even just this first moment, we love our beautiful sweeping landscape shots.
Yes.
For those of you who are fans of us. Now, is this Malibu, California? Yes. This is actually Malibu, California. Is this cliff sort of rock formation jetting out into the water? Is this real? Yes. It's Point Doom. Mm-hmm. Yes. That's a California state park. Mm-hmm. Is there a mansion on it? No, there's not. That is completely a digital creation. Now, interesting story about this house and the way it was designed. a lot of people have been confused by this. They think, after seeing the Stark Mansion in these movies, they think that this is the Razor House, which actually is a well-known house. It's on La Jolla Farms Way in San Diego. It's, I believe, now owned by Alicia Keys and her husband.
Oh,
and
wow.
it doesn't look, it doesn't exactly look like this, but it is very similar in a lot of glass, a lot of concrete on a cliff, just like this. And so a lot of people think that this was, when they see it and they don't take a look at the details, they think, oh, this is the Stark Malibu Mansion. It's not. It's inspired by it. This is a digital creation by conceptual artist Phil Saunders. And when he was asked to create this, he just envisioned this cliffside home in the vein of some of these other type of homes that do exist on the west coast of California. And of course, the idea of putting it here on the state park is only Tony Stark would have the money and the pool to have his house built on protected land.
Right, which makes the difficulty for the party, getting to the party that he has later on, seem a little strange.
I was going to say, right?
Anyway. But yeah, so then we quickly cut into the interior where we have Tony's workshop, which has changed a little bit since the Iron Man 1, and he's got his music running. The music we hear is Should I Stay or Should I Go by The Clash from their album Combat Rock, released all the way back in 1982. And also we see that he has his computer set to respond to his hand gestures, including clapping and snapping, which is going to be important later on in the way, as we're going to see him do that. We say, as those of us who ever had a Kinect know, motion-based stuff is really, really hard to pull off. So you can see how far Tony Stark was back in 2010 that he could actually have his stuff there. So we get to see he has changed some of the vehicles in there. Obviously, one of them wrecked when he crashed into it there. But the cars he has the 32 Ford Flathead Roadster. That same thing is going to be on his screensaver that we'll see later on in this minute. He's got a 1953 Ghia Cadillac, which is a gorgeous car, which I'd never seen before. And then he's got a classic 49 Mercury 8 Coupe. So he's gotten away from his race car phase, apparently, even though race cars will be a factor in this movie later on coming on.
Well, and that's an interesting selection of cars because you've got the Mercury 8 Coupe, which is, a mobster car. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the classic, right? Like mob boss sort of look. And I love the story of the Ghia Cadillac. A lot of people don't know this. In the 1950s, when you're really getting the heyday of design and stuff and the automobile industry is taking off, it was more common than people realize to buy a chassis from an auto manufacturer and then have a custom body crafted to it. And that actually happened for a lot of different purposes and a lot of different people who had the means to do this. And this one, if you say Ghia Cadillac, for those of you who are Volkswagen fans, you know the connection to that. The Karmann Ghia, which was a particular model, same sort of thing. Volkswagen chassis, a different body attached to it. Karmann Ghias were very famous in the 50s too, and they're incredible design. In fact, a lot of the design elements that you see of this Ghia Cadillac carry over to that. One of the things I remember about those cars are cool is they were the Ghia design people. It's an Italian designer, I believe. And Ghias were the Ghia people were so focused on design that they would fill in sand all the body seams. So if you ever look at a Karmann Ghia, they're very tough to restore because not only do you have to restore the body panels, you have to then refill and reseam and sand and paint everything.
Oh, wow.
The Ghia Cadillac.
Yeah.
Favreau refers to the 32 Ford as my car a lot, so I don't know if that's actually his car that he puts in the movie or just that he's a big fan of it too. I couldn't determine whether that came from his garage or not.
Oh no, I've read thanks to, by the way, I should mention all the stuff I just mentioned about cars. Yes. Thanks to hotcars.com.
Ooh,
hotcars.com. Appreciate it.
If
you search for them, search for hotcars.com/Ironman2. They have a whole page that is amazing about all of Tony Stark's cars and specifically the ones in this garage. Yes, that is Jon Favreau's.
Oh, it is. It's owned by him. Okay.
According to them, yes.
That explains why he says mine.
There we go.
Yeah. Asked and answered. So then he also has a voice control on his thing, and he says, "Wake up, Daddy's home." And the computer answers, "Welcome home, sir. Nice to see a video of you with your clothes on." Which makes me wonder, is there a Tony Stark sex tape in the MCU?
Well, there was one in the Ultimates, so
that's true. So canon. I don't know. But the voice you're hearing is that of JARVIS, which stands for Just a Rather Very Intelligent System, voiced by Mr. Paul Bettany. And as we've been doing, what's Paul Bettany been doing since Iron Man 1? Actually, quite a lot. He had done, 6 movies since he did the voiceover work in Iron Man 1. He was in Broken Lines, The Secret Life of Bees. He was in Inkheart as Dustfinger. Just a fun credit to have on your thing. He was Lord Melbourne in The Young Victoria. He was Charles Darwin in Creation, and then he played the Angel Michael in Legion. Not the television series, but the movie.
Oh, the movie. Oh.
Yeah, remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a crazy movie.
Yeah, he was on screen, I believe, for all of those things. We're just hearing his dulcet tones. So then Jarvis begins scanning the entire area, and so we get a lot of data. So there's a lot of stuff going on all these monitors, and we tried to find as much as we possibly could. So the first thing he does is scan the Hall of Armors. Ooh, look at that! It's not the first time we get to see that. So we have the Mark I, and the thing what's cool about that is the original suit that Tony created in the lab. That's not it. Because if you remember, he did not get to keep that suit. That suit was put together by the 10 Rings, and presumably they still have it. So they actually says next to it, when Jarvis scans it, reconstruction. So basically he recreated the suit, as much as he can. So this is just a symbolic suit. The second one is marked, the Mark II, the silver one, is marked as prototype. So we saw him taking out the thing. That was my first appearance in the Marvel Minute, was talking about his first flight in that suit. In the Mark III, so that it actually says battle damage, and because that's the suit he wore when he fought Stain in the Ironmonger armor. And then there's his current suit, Mark IV, which interestingly says awaiting upgrade.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it seems like almost every piece of Tony Stark's tech is awaiting upgrade, isn't it? Then he goes back to, and Tony Stark is a 4-monitor guy. As a person in IT and as a director of IT, I've been up to 3 monitors, but I've never gone to that 4th one. I guess that's what happens when you get to be a CEO of your own tech company and you're monitoring stuff. You get that sweet 4th monitor. So you see, I went through as much as I could about what's on each monitor. So starting from the left and going to the right. So monitor number 1, he's checking his stock prices, which I thought was interesting because he had that on his phone as well. He had a stock app about what's going on in Q3, and there it is. And then as we see that screen, he then switches over to C-SPAN's YouTube page and comes down. And only 1 million views in the last 4 days. Come on. That seems a little low, even for a C-SPAN's YouTube page. But maybe somebody else picked it up and really got the thing. We've seen that happen on YouTube quite a bit. On monitor number 2, it looks like designs for the arc reactor. There's a lot of round circles and stuff too. Maybe even like what's going on with his medical condition. On monitor number 3, we see his file tree. Ooh, come on, nerds. That's pretty sweet. I couldn't get in close enough to find out what's on there, but that was kind of neat. He has a video conference pending. I'm curious to see who that was with. And then he has a model of a skull. I don't know what that's about. Maybe he's measuring for the helmet. I don't know. Is it his skull? I don't know. But there's a wireframe skull up there. And monitor number 4 seems to be armor designs, because there's a bunch of different sort of Iron Man-esque sort of suit things in there too. So did you guys pick up on anything in the monitors that I missed?
I didn't.
On the 4th, just a couple things on the 4th monitor. That suit strangely looks like a suit that we are going to see later in this movie.
Oh, okay.
Because you can tell by the sort of the corrugated silver that's down past the lower underneath the arc reactor.
Yeah.
So there is a little bit of hinting on that. And I just think this is funny. Okay, first of all, how is Stark Industries, which apparently its stock ticker is SIA, it's at $130. It's up 5.82%. I mean, depends on how many shares. If they've just had a stock split, then I guess that's not bad.
But if you're going to invest in Stark Industries, I don't think Iron Man 2 is the time that you want to invest in it.
Oh, no. Because then Iron Man 3, never mind.
Yeah.
So, spoiler. And then under that, there is a news ticker that you can just make out says, stock takes sharp dive after CEO Justin Hammer is embarrassed in Senate Armed Services Committee hearing.
Yeah, also not a good time to be a Hammer Industries
sell.
Investor.
You want to sell hard on Hammer stock. So that was funny.
Well, you know what? Actually, knowing what we know now, which you don't get to in this, I would hang on to Hammer until probably maybe after he does his presentation, maybe then sell.
Oh, yeah. Right. Maybe mid presentation.
Yeah, maybe mid. Yeah, mid. Let's say mid presentation.
After hours trading, I would totally just get right there. We saw that. And then, once again, great work here to the digital artists, because this is a fully realized UI, not just on the screens. I mean, boy, one thing to make screens and animated because you're showing all this stuff, but then fully realized in the whole augmented reality system that you're seeing. Yeah. It's just the whole thing. This was a huge project to create all of the elements for this, and we're not even done yet because there's still a few more things to talk about.
That's right, because Favreau talks about how you see the floor has changed, and so he was saying that that's part of because he added the operating system to the floor too. So everything you see, where you see when the holographic thing is because he's expanded it. So the fifth monitor essentially is all around them,
all around him, and you definitely get that. Okay, so one thing I just got to mention, the tie-in to our opening for the show today, on his desk is a water vessel that is containing a liquid that we're going to talk about here. But when this came out, this is a product that you can still purchase today. It is from the Core, K-O-R, water bottle company. This is the Core 1. It is a 25-ounce water vessel that it can still be purchased today in multiple colors, including the white that appears in this movie, for $30. And when you actually go to their website, you can even find out lifetime warranty. This is the upper echelon of water bottles.
Would you say it's the Gia Cadillac of water bottles?
Yes, this is the Gia version of water bottles. Obviously, they were huge. I remember they made a huge deal about this when this movie came out, because this was clear product placement, and they totally went all in on it. And even if you go to their website right now, this one is always talked about, the one that started it all, a game-changing product that has captured the imagination of everyone from Oprah to Iron Man.
Oh, nice.
That is literally still in their marketing for this product.
And any representatives of Core International, we are happy to take any sponsorship you want to. And if not, I'm a big fan of the Yeti. Yeah. So any Yeti representatives who rather have us represent them, we're open to bids. So, nothing keeps it colder than a Yeti.
Oh, wow. I love how we just went from product placement of the movie to just, hey, and by the way, Apple.
What exactly? I mean,
we like iPad Airs.
We are really new iPad Air. We're getting into the spirit of Iron Man 2, which is loaded with product placement. Why not some product placement on the Marvel Movie Minutes as well?
We've talked to Kodak. We've already talked. Yes,
we are open to offers.
Well, and this goes right into another interesting product placement. He's talking to Jarvis. Jarvis, he's talking about obviously this liquid that he's drinking, right? And it goes into and we'll get into this toxicity and stuff. But when there's another shot here where it goes to the robot arm, that always gets the grief.
That's right. We need to talk about you.
Is that what that is?
He's got two robots that work for him, Dummy and You, and they're now labeled. So on this one, actually, he talks to You, and you can see it's the letter U, and you can see the U is actually on that one, and it's making him a smoothie and doing a terrible job of it.
Is that the same smoothie that he drank in the first movie? Because it looks like the same color.
It is. And so this is basically they're saying that he's doing this to help counteract the palladium poisoning. But really at the time, they never explained what it was doing in the first movie. So they retconned it. So even Favreau says it may that's why we did it. We put it in there because we're geniuses and we had this all planned out. But he's totally joking about it. But yeah, they basically they retconned it to be that's why is because it was making him sick, and that's why he was drinking the green smoothies.
Now, we'll have to talk, and obviously we'll talk about toxicity, but here's the thing is when they cut to that, and there's a couple shots here of the refrigerator next to it, there's glasses, water, lemons, and a particular carbonated beverage that is very clear it's Dr. Pepper. Big Dr. Pepper fan. Apparently.
So, if Dr. Pepper representatives are listening, we're happy to be drinking Dr. Pepper on the show as we do the Marvel Movie Minutes.
Did you know that there's Dr. Pepper?
Because I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Oh, wouldn't you like to be a pepper too, Ray?
I guess.
Wow, this minute.
Ray, work with us. Show some enthusiasm.
What's the stock up to?
Jeez. Oh, sorry. We digress. So what's this? Toxicity? What's happening?
Yeah, that's right. So we hear Jarvis has been in on this, so he's been monitoring it. So he says we're up to 80 ounces a day to try and counteract the symptoms. So he checks his blood again. And oddly, it's at the same level it was 4 days ago. So isn't that a good thing? Like, your blood sugar is only at 24%? I know. But, who knows? At this point, he could have back down to 0, and then now he's back up to 24 again. But it seems weird that he used the same number. But maybe the prop only displayed 24%. So
maybe.
Every time he checked it was always 24%.
Right.
All this talk of toxicity is making me think perhaps instead of The Clash, they should have gone with System of a Down.
Those Armenian geniuses. So Jarvis then gives us a little more information. It appears the continued use of the Iron Man suit is accelerating your condition. Another core has been depleted. And so now we see the arc reactor, which we haven't really seen before. So he pops out. And so obviously he has made some upgrades because if you remember the first one, he had to have Pepper come and do all the work with the gel and the wire and all that stuff. Now he can pop it out. And it's no problem. There's enough of a battery backup maybe that he can do it because it's like he has some sort of system where you can't just unplug him and down he goes. So now he can survive long enough that he can take the thing out, open it up, switch the new core, put it back in, and he's good to go. So we see not only the arc reactor is better, but the whole system that integrates with him seems to be better as well. So there's something. Yeah. So he ejects something weird and metal and smoking. From the center of which we've never seen before, and he says, "God, they're running out quick." And Jarvis says, "I have run simulations," and that's where the minute ends. We don't actually find out what's going on with the thing and the stuff and the thing and the.
What's he running simulations of?
What's he running simulations? You're only going to find out back in minute 20. What a cliffhanger, huh?
Oh no, this was great. A couple things about this that just little details I love. When as the camera is pivoting around him, it's behind the screen now, right? So now you're seeing through. He's got these monitors that are actually they're also translucent as well, and you can see the 24% toxicity as he removes the reactor. The toxicity on the screen goes down to 0.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I thought that was
nice
cool design work on that, showing the impact. So, but that also leaves you to believe that so without the reactor, no more toxicity. Right? Or at least something like that. But I thought that was a nice little design note. And then great rendering, when he holds the device, and clearly there's a little bit of wonkiness with the CGI. This is a mixture of a practical and digital effect.
Yeah.
It's still really cool. Like it has this great spider-like opening, and the way it ejects the sort of burnt charge from this looks really cool. But I just gotta ask this. So the whole thing of this is powering the magnet that's keeping these particles still going into his heart.
Yes.
There's not another way to do this.
At this point in the MCU, no. This is the only thing. That technology won't exist for another sequel.
Don't get me wrong. I love this movie. Just whenever this happens, I'm kind of like, okay.
There's all this stuff with the Lady Boys is a little clunky, and it gets clunkier as the movie goes on too.
Well, and like you said, I'm glad you said, is like there's clearly whatever that magnet, the thing that's keeping these particles. What happens when he takes it out? Like they don't, right? Like, I mean, and I like your idea that it's charged. It's holding a charge that can only hold for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. Who knows?
Right.
I'm not going to get too far into that just now.
Eventually we will, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll have to.
But in the meantime, as we've been talking about, the wonderful products from Yeti and the delicious beverage of Dr. Pepper, we have not yet begun to sell out because we have our own merchandise. You can go to nextreel.com/merch and you can get our logos plastered on whatever you want. And if we don't have it, tell us. We'll sell it to you. We don't care because, folks, microphones and bandwidth ain't free. So you can get masks, you can get pillows, you can get phone cases, you can get all sorts of stuff. Hopefully emblazoned with our brand new season 3 logo.
Might I also add, you can also buy stickers. And if you buy a sticker, you could place that sticker on your Core 1 water bottle or your Yeti insulated mug. Or whatever you want to buy, your 24-pack of Dr. Pepper, whatever it is. Go ahead and buy a bunch of decals.
Get a Next Real koozie and put it on your Dr. Pepper as you're drinking it, as you're pouring it into your Yeti.
Put it on the bumper of your Carmen Gia.
That's right.
Nice. Nicely done.
Man.
Send us a
we have
picture
you
of
right.
that.
You're a professional.
Yeah, exactly.
so thank you all for listening. We'll be back to find out what the end of Jarvis's sentence was in minute 20. So make sure you don't miss that. Enough said.
Bye.